So, lesson 1, learning and understanding Photoshop tools. So, last session, I demonstrated, di ba? I demonstrated yung breakdown ko talaga yung mga tools ng Photoshop for you to be able to understand. Then, para, alam niyo, kasi alam ko, yung iba dito sa atin knows how to use Photoshop. Pero I'm happy that even though they know how to use Photoshop, meron pa rin naman sila natutunan. So, yan. So, next slide. Ito, yung the toolbar. So, ngayon, sa nakikita nyo, ito, tools panel overview, may category siya, di ba? So, ang daming categories. So, meron tayong selection tools, which is under niyan is yung tinuro ko last time, di ba? Yung move, rectangular marquee, ganyan, lasso. And then may crop and slice tools. Though hindi ko masyado breakdown yung crop and slice tools kasi yung slice tools more on sa web. Yun, i-discuss ko further sa next na slides. So may measuring tools, may retouching tools, painting tools, drawing and type tools, and navigation tool. So yan. Next, selection tools. Under the selection tools, which is yung marquee tools, yung na-demonstrate ko last time. So, mamaya naman de-demonstrate ko ulit sa Photoshop while So, yan. Marquee tools, rectangular, elliptical, single row, single column. Tapos yung the move tool, moves, selections, layers, and guides. The lasso tools, freehand, polygonal, and magnetic. And the quick selection tool lets you quickly paint a selection using an adjustable round brush tip. The magic wand tool selects similarly colored areas. So, exit muna tayo dyan. So, labas ko si ate girl. So, demonstrate natin real quick yung mga tools sa selection tool. So, alam natin yung move tool, ito. So, we can, yan, select natin si ate girl. So, wait. Senior and wait lang. Uh, where's my panel? May hindi pa nakamute. Ayun, thank you. Thank you so much. So, yan. Unmute. There you go. Naka-unmute na ako, no? Okay. So, ito, move tool. Obviously, yan. It can move like objects. Yung, like ito, yung picture natin girl. Then, the marquee tools. Ito yung marquee tools. Under the marquee tools are the rectangular marquee tool. Makaka-select tayo. So, meaning, itong around or at least yung area na selected, yan yung makakat at least. Pero you can invert the selection by uh, like doing like control shift I. So yan. So yung outside, yung outer na selected na. So baliktad na yung selection. So yan na yung na ano. So ito yung na-cut. 'Di ba? Pero parang same pa rin. Pero depending sa selections na gusto mong i-select sa isang photo, you can invert din. And then, itong under, meron single row. So, yan. And then, yung single column. Sineselect niya yung depending sa, di ba, column and vertical na select. Pero usually, hindi naman to ni-use. Usually, ito lang rectangular and elliptical. And then, there's this lasso tool. So, pag clinic mo, ito, or at least freehand na dinodrawing mo, yun lang yung select niya. So, yung selection yan. Diba? Kahit anong i-drawing mo dyan. Kunyari heart pa. Ay, wait lang. Deselect natin. O, kunyari heart. Pero freehand lang. Yun na. So, parang freehand, parang dinodrawing mo yung selection. And then, there's this polygonal. So, kunyari straight line. Straight line siya. Yan. Sharp edged na na selection. Pero usually, pag nagmamadali ako, ito yung ginagamit ko. Pero sanayan siya talaga. Sanayan siya talaga. Pero ginagamit ko siya minsan to crop. Pero sanayan. Pag nagmamadali. Kasi pag pen tool kasi maraming ano, di ba? Pero ito kasi click, click, click ka lang. Pero sanayan siya when it comes to using it. And then yung magnetic, so nagsasnap siya sa similarly colored na like ito. Kasi yung color niya magkalapit. So, yan. Nasa snap niya. At least na-recognize ni Photoshop na ito yun. Solid color siya. Against sa white na background kasi different color. So, yun. Pwede din ganyan. Though, ang hirap niyang gamitin sometimes. Kasi, malikot oh. Malikot siya. Yan. So, select na natin. Tapos, next is yung quick selection. Quick selection is yan lang. Kapag brush mo, sinelect mo over dyan, yan, nasiselect lang niya yung similarly colored na ano, or either like solid, kasi ito kasi white eh, solid white background. So, though itong white kasi din yung shirt niya, so medyo nahihirapan siya ma-recognize, diba, yung colors. So, hindi siya accurate. Pero when it comes na sa skin niya, accurate naman kahit paano. But here, medyo nahihirapan siya. Kasi nagbe-blend. Oo, nagbe-blend siya. Pero I don't usually recommend like doing like quick selection that much kasi hindi siya usually malinis yung pixels niya. Unlike using yung pen tool. So, meron din magic wand tool. So, pag clinic mo, parang instantly, na-recognize yung similar colored na areas. Pero, usually kasi, hindi naman siya, ang photos kasi hindi naman solidly colored. So, yung mga na-recognize lang niya, yung same colors lang. So, usually sa mga solid colors siya ginagamit. Pero, yan. So, one click lang siya talaga in selection. So, kaya magic one. Kasi magic, like, one click magic. Oh, one click magic kasi naselect niya agad. So, yan. The next slide tayo. Saan na ba tayo? Selection. There. Yan. Selection tools gallery. Yan, marquee tools. So, ito yung mga icons to remember. Yung mga icons sila. Diba? You'll recognize yung icons. Though, sa magic wand, medyo nag-iba na siya sa, like a recent na update ng Photoshop. So, next naman is crop and slice tools. And ito, the crop tool, trims images. So, ito usually parang pag you need adjustments sa photo mo to crop it, not necessarily yung parang yung whole canvas mo ika-crop niya. So, yan, trims images. Tapos, perspective crop tool. Ito, hindi ko to naturo kasi medyo hindi naman siya usually ginagamit. Pero, yun nga, usually, meron, i-demonstrate ko later. Ito, lets you transform the perspective in an image while cropping. So, the slice tool creates slices. Ito, usually, ginagamit lang to sa web eh. Like, meron sa certain image na may ililink sila, ganun. So, di naman natin i-discuss yan further kasi hindi naman tayo sa web. So, yan. But if you're curious, you can search about it. Like, ito pala yung ginagamit na tool. So, to integrate yung sa web when it comes to images. Yun. And then, the slice select tool. So, next. Yan. Icons to be remembered. Kung ano yung, pag na-recognize mo tong icon na to, yun. Crop tool pala yan. And then, slice tool. Ito yung overview ng drop-down menu niya. When you click and hold sa tool, so lalabas yung menu, 'di ba? So, there. So, alam naman natin na yung crop tool, di ba? When we adjust yung buong canvas mo, which is yung image natin, you can crop instantly. Ganyan. Adjust mo lang and then click like the check mark here. Crop na siya. So, Control Z natin. Undo. Yan. There you go. And then, there's this perspective crop tool. So, yung perspective, syempre, pag drinag ko to, so, yan. Di ba yung perspective, yung may angles, depende sa perspective. Yan, angle perspective natin. Usually, hindi naman na to ni-use. Parang added lang to na feature ni Photoshop. Depending sa, kasi some of them ginagamit for parang sa enhancing. Kunyari, nag-edit sila ng, kunyari, ng building. Tapos gusto nila medyo yung angle niya iba. They can manipulate it using this perspective crop tool. So, demonstrate ko lang. Kunyari, ganyan siguro angle nung gusto mo i-crop or gusto mong maging angle na ate girl. Pero hindi siya masyadong scaled na maayos eh. Trinay ko siya. So, pag you click enter, yan, parang ganyan na siya. Medyo parang hindi siya proportion in a way. Parang na-squish yung head ni ate girl. 'Di ba? Pero, nag-iba yung perspective niya. Parang, medyo yung camera is nasa baba, di ba? Yung angle niya. Medyo lower angle na camera. Pero, medyo napapansin nyo, parang, hindi siya, hindi siya proportion when it comes to sa head. So, depending talaga sa photo. So, yan. Newly added feature niya. Then, di natin discuss yung slice tool kasi hindi naman siya related. So, next slide tayo. Paano ba? Crop and slice. Okay. Yan. Next slide. So, measuring tools. Under ng measuring tools, the eyedropper tool samples colors in an image. And then, ito the count tool, hindi ko na discuss kasi parang added lang din siya na parang it's not really like basically that you need it when you using Photoshop, pero I'm discussing it na lang para you are familiar with the tools. Counts objects in an image. So, meron palang ganun na feature si Photoshop na kaya pala niya mag-count ng objects sa image. Then, the color sampler tool displays color values for up to 4 areas. And then, the ruler tool measures distances, locations, and angles. And then, the note tool makes notes that can be attached in an image. So, pwede pala maglagay ng notes for images. Pero, kung sa editing lang naman, hindi naman masyado. So, here's the sample photo. So, yung eyedropper tool samples color. So, anywhere sa image, you can get like the color. So, at least, I guess if you're retouching something sa skin, you can pick out like a color like sa skin tone. So, pwede mong i-retouch yung mukha ni ate girl para hindi siya, di ba, mukhang stressed. So, pwede din yun, like, doing like a bit of like digital makeup sa retouching sa face ng any kind of models, ganon. And then, color sampler tool displays color values up to 4 areas. So, meaning, parang, if you want to know lang yung colors around yung image, you can see yung, parang mga hex code nila, yung code, kung anong colors nila when it comes to RGB. And then, you can, record it, ganon. Then, the ruler tool measures distances, locations, and angles. And then, yan na. Then, next, retouching tools. So, retouching tools, spot healing brush removes blemishes and objects. And then, the clone stamp tool paints with a sample of an image. Like yung last time, diba, dinemonstrate ko yun. If yung mga nandito last session. And then, healing brush paints with a sample or pattern to repair imperfections in an image. Yun. And then, the patch tool repairs imperfections in the selected area of an image using a sample pattern. And then, the red eye tool removes the red reflection caused by a flash. So, familiar naman tayo dun, diba? Yung pag napansin nyo, yung mga old school na photos, diba? Kailangan may flash. Kasi syempre yung pag dark yung area kung saan mag-picture. Tapos minsan nagfa-flash, nagkakaroon ng red eye sa eyes nung kunyari, na pinicturean mo. So, usually doon. And then, ang dami under the retouching tools. So, the eraser tool erases pixels and restores parts of an image to a previously saved state. And then, the background eraser erases areas to transparency by dragging. So, pwede yun. Like, kapag solid yung image mo and you use the background eraser, yun. Usually, accurate siya. Usually, hindi. Kasi, syempre, basing lang naman sa pixels kung saan yung solid colors. And then, the magic eraser tool erases solid colored areas to transparency with a single click. And then, the blur tool blurs hard edge in an image. The sharpen tool sharpens soft edges in an image. The smudge tool smudges data in an image. So, sa next slide, ito pa, more. The dodge tool and the burn tool, the sponge tool. So, lightens areas in an image, darkens areas in an image, and then changes the color saturation of an area. So, in-explain ko lang ng mabilis kasi syempre meron pa tayong another lesson. So, refresher lang to. Pero, ito yung next slide natin. So, pinapakita dito yung uses nung tools ng like an overview. So, hindi ko na i-demonstrate. Kasi, so, itong baby photo dito. So, spot healing tool, brush tool. So, may spot dito, si baby. Tapos, nung ginamitan ng spot healing, nawala. So, yan. So, parang yung mga pimples, kunyari, and you want to erase those pimples sa model mo, or ikaw, gusto mo edit mo yung sarili mo para flawless ka, ganon, pwede yan. And then, the healing brush tool paints with a sample or pattern to repair imperfections in an image. So, ito, kita natin. So, sa mga photo restoration, you can use this. Yun, dito, di ba, nakita natin sa top photo dito. Di ba, meron parang yung mga folds or parang scratches na syempre super old na. So, nung ginamitan ng healing brush tool, yun, naging okay. Pero, it really depends pa rin kasi kung how Photoshop processes yung image mo. So, it might look na good or it might not blend depending sa image na that you will use. So, ito, the patch tool repairs imperfections. So, hindi ko medyo, ito. Itong patch na to, 'di ba? So, gusto niya wala tong color na to, itong maliit na square na to. So, gusto niya same dito sa pattern dito. So, yan yung clinic niya. Ito yung sinelect niya. So, dito sa part na to, same na. So, yan, pinatch up niya. So, parang tinahian, ganun. Kaya patch tool. So, the red eye tool, ayan, pag nag-flash, tas may red eye. Usually, if it has that, you can use this tool and para mawala yung red eye. So, yan. And then, wait. Next is the clone stamp tool. Yung clone stamp tool, kung saan yung sinelect mong area, ikakopy niya yun kapag clinic mo sa area na gusto mo i-click. So, yun, dinemonstrate ko din nung last time na kapag, kunyari, sa skin din, and you want to lighten, kunyari, eye bags ni ate girl, tapos meron certain skin tone na gusto mong i-copy para hindi siya halatang pinatungan mo. So, kung ano yung malapit na color to her skin tone to lighten yung kunya eye bags niya, yun. Mas okay yung clone stamp. Tapos ito, the pattern stamp tool paints with part of an image as a pattern. So, nagiging pattern. So, ito, di ba, ito yung image. So, naging pattern siya. Eraser tool, ano naman siya, obvious naman siya pag, di ba, pag eraser. Sa pag-eraser sa atin, pag, di ba, may in-erase tayo, nawawala yung ating nilagay here, like paint natin or sa mga pag sa ano natin, diba? Drawings, pencil, we can erase it. Or meron din naman pang eraser sa pag ball pens too. So, meron din sa Photoshop. And then, background eraser, ayun. See, ito, it can be accurate depending sa pag-process din ni Photoshop sa photo mo when it comes to erasing a background. Pero usually kasi hindi siya ganun ka-accurate depending sa background nung object mo. So yan, na-erase yung background. Erases areas to transparency by dragging. So mamaya demonstrate natin. And then the magic eraser tool erases solid colored areas to transparency with a single click. So parang ano din siya, yung magic wand. So isang click mo lang, parang ma-recognize niya, ito yung colors na kailangan mawala sa image. So ito yung original, 'di ba? And then nung clinic niya do sa black areas nawala. Though as we can see here, hindi siya gandun ka-accurate. So may medyo may ano, pero we get the gist of it. Yung ng tool na to. So ito blur tool, blurs hard edges in an image. So ito yung original, 'di ba? Parang yung top part. So nung ginamitan ng blur, so na ano na siya, blurred na siya yung part na to. So you can use that either like photo retouching na stuff. Kunyari sa skin din, ganun. If medyo parang daming pores, parang kita yung pores sa photo, pwede man yung i-blur. Ganun. Para smooth yung skin. Usually doon ginagamit, pero usually din sa pag digital painting, yan pang mga enhancement or retouching purposes. Tapos ito, the sharpen tool sharpens soft edges in an image. So dito sa other photo, 'di ba, parang hindi siya ganun ka-sharp. Pero usually pag na-overdo yung sharpen tool, yung pixels, parang yung color ng pixels parang nasisira. So, careful lang tayo sa paggamit din nun when sharpening an image. Yan. And then, smudge tool, smudges data in an image. Ayan, di ba? Obvious naman na pag spinach. Kaya nga parang kamay eh. Parang, di ba, dati pag kunyari, yung color pastel, di ba, nung bata tayo, ganun, nung mga color pastel na mga projects natin, di ba? Para kumalat yung kulay, sinasmudge natin, di ba? So, yun. Kaya yung icon niya ganyan eh, smudge. So, smudge talaga. And then, the dodge tool lightens areas in an image. So, kita natin doon sa other image, yung part na lower ng key, nung ginamitan ng dodge tool, naging lighter siya, di ba? So, yun ang use ng dodge tool. And then, burn tool darkens areas in an image. So, yan. Doon sa kabilang photo, yung top part nung key, lighter siya dito, diba? Tapos, nung ginamitan niya ng dodge tool, so, naging darker siya. So, the sponge tool changes the color saturation of an area. So, ini-enhance niya yung saturation niya. So, kada kapahid nung tool na yan, na ini-enhance yung saturation. So, nag-iba, di ba? Parang naging bronze na siya dito. So, na-saturate. So, gets naman natin, no? Guys? So far, hindi naman ako, naka-catch up naman kayo, no? Carry naman. So, next tayo. Kasi, medyo madami yung, what do you call this? Yung tools, pero we are gonna quickly refresh you guys, and yung mga newcomers, you can catch up, and don't worry kasi recorded naman na siya. So if you want to look back din sa class, you can you can review. So next natin, painting tools. The brush tool, of course, paints brush strokes And then the pencil tool paints hard edge strokes, which is obviously kasi pencil tool. And the history brush tool paints a copy of the selected state or snapshot into the current image window. Okay. And then the art history tool paints with stylized strokes ano? Paints with stylized strokes na doble that simulate the look of different paint styles using a selected state or snapshot. So, usually, ang ginagamit lang naman sa painting tools is the brush tool. Yun lang naman yung usually ginagamit when you use Photoshop. Ako, to be honest, hindi ko naman lahat nagagamit yung tools, pero at least you are familiar with it. If you want to venture with, like digital painting, ganun, kung interested man kayo doon, di ba? So, yan. And then, the color replacement replaces a selected color with a new color. The mixer brush tool simulates realistic painting techniques such as blending canvas colors and varying paint wetness. And the gradient tools create straight line, radial angle, reflected and diamond blends between colors. And then the paint bucket tool fills similarly colored areas with the foreground color. There. So, ito yung image ng painting tools gallery. Yun, hydrate lang ako. Don't forget to hydrate, guys, kasi, tayo? 2 hours. Wow, 2 hours. 2 hours class. And then, yan. So, we can see here yung samples ng which the tools can be used. So, ito. Obviously, the brush tool, yan na. Painting. And then, yung pencil tool. So, yung pixels niya is very jagged kasi, hard-edged nga daw eh. Hard-edged strokes. Pero usually, hindi ko naman ginagamit to in my line of job. Like, as a graphic artist, hindi ko naman ginagamit. So, color replacement tool replaces a selected color with a new color. Ayan, no? So, dati orange siya. Naging blue. And then, mixer brush tools. Yan, parang sa painting, di ba? Pag nagpe-paint ka, yung sa iba, pag limited yung colors ng paint nila, ginagawa nila, biniblend na lang nila para magkaroon ng much like na other blended color. So, yan. Parang ganun. And then, history brush tool paints a copy of the selected state or snapshot into the current image window. Yan. So, ito hindi ko na masyado ginagamit din. But to. So, I'm not gonna really discuss it further, but if you want to learn more about it, like, you can do some research. Pero, yung basics lang talaga. Para at least you are equipped with doing Photoshop. So, itong gradient tools, ito, madalas ginagamit ko for backgrounds kasi sa ads. But there's like of course, like a easier way to do those. So, later, madidiscuss natin yun. Instead of like painting it over. So, pero yan, pwede din yan. And then, the paint bucket tool fills similarly colored areas with the foreground color, or at least it paints on your canvas as like a solid color. So, paint bucket tool. So, yan. Drawing and type tools. Okay? The pen tools. Under the pen tools, pen, of course, freeform pen, and then add anchor point and convert point. And it also the type tools, horizontal type, vertical type. It's meron din horizontal type mask and vertical type mask. And then there's like the path selection tools, path selection, direct selection. So, path selection tools, usually, siya, what do you call this? Partner siya ng pen tools. Yan yung partner yan. Tapos, meron shape tools and line tools. And, ito, under the shape tools and line tool, rectangle, rounded rectangle, line, ellipse, polygon. And then, there's like the custom shape tool. Makes customized shapes. Yan. So, here's the, like a sample image of the tools. So, path selection. So, as you can see, ito yung nodes. Dito yung mga black dots. Black dots. Yan yung anchor points. So, yung path selection, when you select like when you use a pen tool, tas yan, and you want to move your selection ng pen tool, you can move the anchor points yung as a whole. So mamaya ano natin demonstrate. And then type tools, create type on an image, of course, like ito the text. Then the type mask tools, create a selection in the shape of type. So if like you want, I guess you want something na kunyari in your solid background image and gusto mo parang butasin siya as kunyari meron siyang type ganon in a font tapos gusto mo siya i-select na ganon. Ano, mahirap explain pero later ganun i-show ko. And then the pen tools let you draw smooth edge paths. So ito yung recommended ko when it comes to cropping kasi very versatile siya and easy for me kasi it's easier to select an object that you want to crop kasi at least makokontrol mo kung paano mo i-shape yung selection. So, yan no, 'di ba? Very smooth dito sa example na image. So, yan, recommended ko yan na selection tool. Pero you can always match combos naman when it comes to selection tools. So, which you are comfortable with, at least making sure na clean yung pag-crop mo. Ganon. So, ito. And then, the shape tools and line tool, draws shapes and yan. Normal layer a shape layer. Yun. And the custom shape tool makes customized shapes selected from a custom shape list. Usually, pag sa work naman, hindi na masyado ginagamit yung custom shape tool. Pero if you want to explore using yung custom shape tool, why not? So, pero ito, mga shape tools, yung mga ellipse, yung rounded rectangle, yeah, yun usually ginagamit. Ito, navigation tools. Yan, medyo malapit na tayo matapos sa tools. Navigation tools, ito lang, 3 lang to remember. The hand tool moves an image within its window. Yung kanina, di ba, na demonstrate ko. The rotate view tool non-destructively rotates the canvas. Kasi, you can rotate a canvas syempre by, what do you call this? Doing like a select, right click, and then you can rotate like 180 degrees or 90 degrees or like flip horizontally, vertically, pero na destructive siya kasi na-change niya yung canvas or at least yung image mo. So ito, pag kunyari may gusto ka lang usually kasi sa digital painting to kasi para na sila, parang mas easier nila yung pag sa angle na hindi nila kaya ng kamay nila i-paint. So, rotate nila yung canvas. So, the zoom tool magnifies and reduces the view of an image. So, next, yan. Ito yung sample image, tong icons and like how the tools are used. Yan, namumove, diba? And then, ito, na-rotate niya. And then, here naman, zoom tool. Obviously, like zooming in and zooming out. And then, ito, bonus na lang to, pero there is like, you can do 3D din sa Photoshop, but it's not really like usual thing to use. But meron din 3D tools yung Photoshop. Yan. Meron din silang like rotation tool, 3D object roll, object pan tool, the 3D object slide tool. So, ito usually parang pang move lang ng 3D object. Kasi you can also do 3D fonts kasi 3D na fonts sa Photoshop pero hindi ko naman natuturo kasi masyado like further of that, but at least you are familiar with the tools sa Photoshop. So, yan. Ano naman, no? Gets naman natin? Guys, may questions pa kayo? Wait. Yung related muna sa ating don't crop. Okay. Wait. I'm gonna check the chat. Wala yung chat ko. May questions ba? Open to questions. Nagets ba natin? Oh, guys. Good naman tayo, good. Proceed na ba tayo sa next? Okay, but you can always review naman, if ever. Kasi since ano naman na siya, it's, ano na, call this, recorded. Change ko na to, yun. So, itong, next natin is more on tackling na when it comes to layers. So, layers na tayo. Kasi ito yung important part of Photoshop when you start editing na, ganun. And composing your layout, ganun yung design. So next na tayo. Ready na tayo, no, guys? Ready na? Ready na? Are we ready? Yes? For some reason, di ko makita yung chat ng room. Di ko alam bakit. Ito. Ayun, okay na. Ang daming windows ni Zoom. Nalilito na ako. Please, okay. Paano ba yun? Kasi, wait lang. Okay. Mute all. Ito. Yan, minute ka na para... Yan, ready na. Ready na. Okay, yes. Excited na ba kayo sa next? So, this lesson will help you na for, of course, like, moving forward, at least understanding yung layers of Photoshop. So, yan. Lesson 2. About Photoshop layers. So, we need to understand yung how we can use yung layers of Photoshop. Kasi, composing your design, syempre, hindi dapat at least in one layer. Kasi, how will you adjust and control yung need mo i-edit sa design mo. So, yan. So, start na tayo. Okay, hydrate muna. Buhawin talaga ako, guys. So, next na tayo. Next. So, next. So, Photoshop layers are like sheets of stacked acetate. So, what is acetate? Parang familiar ba tayo sa acetate noon? 'Di ba yung mga old school dati, yung mga presentations dati, yung PowerPoint nung noon kasi hindi pa uso yung computer, so yung acetate, 'di ba, yung transparent, and then you can put on like text or images on it, tapos ilalagay mo sa parang big na light box, tapos ilalagay mo doon. So minsan pinapatong-patong nila to show like like an image, ganun. Alam ko sa animation, ginagawa din nila yun noon. Like having acetates of background nung ina-animate, tapos ipapatong nila yung character doon. So, you can see here, dito sa sample image, so transparent areas on the layer lets you see layers below. So, yan. Demonstrate ko yan later. You can see through transparent areas of a layer to the layers below. You move a layer to position the content on the layer. Daming layer, diba? Like sliding a sheet of acetate in a stack. So, yan. So, iba-ibang layers, diba? So, you can stack anything on your original image. Like, I guess you want to put like another object, but you don't want to, parang ayaw mo na hindi na siya ma-edit, or at least hindi siya ma-stack on your image. So, pero automatically naman si Photoshop, pag may nag-drag ka ng another image, considered yon as a new layer. So, yan. Next, Photoshop Layers Panel Overview. So, as you can see here, yan. Ito yung layer panel. So, when you press F7 on Photoshop, appear si layers panel. So, ito, overview ng panel. So, ito yung A part is the layers panel menu here. And then B is the filter. And then C, you can group certain objects on your image. So, usually kasi may napapansin ako mga artists sa work ko na kasi minsan kapag kunyari may sick leave na artist, naka-sick leave. So, minsan papasa sa akin yung ginagawa niyang project. So, usually hindi organized siya. In a way, like, kung gusto mo i-adjust na yung certain objects in one go, you can group them. Para hindi ka na mahirapan na hanapin pa, ay, saan ba tong layer na to? But you can easily do that, pero, time consuming siya if you don't group them. Kasi, for me kasi, organization in layers then is important to be more efficient. So, at least, if you're gonna want to edit it again and you want certain objects in one group, at least you can move them really easily as a group. So, yan. So, yan. Lagi ko yung ginagawa sa Photoshop na kunyari pag I'm doing like a layout study, and then usually kapag hinihingi ng client yung layered file, I usually organize it so they would not have like a hard time to check kung saan nanggagaling yung mga objects na yun. Kasi mahirap lalo na kapag marami ng objects sa file mo. So, mahirap siyang i-adjust kapag hindi siya naka-group. So, important yan, grouping your objects. And then, D is yung layer. Yan, itong layer na to. So, that's a layer. And then E, expand or collapse layer effects. So, yan. We'll discuss yan later. So, yan. Ito yung FX na nasa layer na to. Meaning, meron siyang effects na nakalagay. Itong layer na to, meron na siyang effects. So, ito, you can adjust kasi. And then, F is layer effect. Yan. Nakaturo. This is a layer effect. So, itong I, ibig sabihin, it's visible. So, yan. Ito yung mga visible na effects. But you can always turn it on and off to see yung difference ng kapag nawala tong effect na to sa image mo. Yun. So, you can compare like sa original na state nung image mo. So, yan. Importante din yan that we know na kung ano yung hidden na layers. So, G, layer thumbnail. So, ito yung thumbnail natin. Yan, thumbnail. Alam ko, you can make it bigger and you can turn off the thumbnails. Pero, it helps a lot to distinguish yung object mo sa layers mo. So, pag nakita mo, click mo kagad, diba? At least na-recognize mo kung ano. And important din, if you want to be organized, kasi usually pag you drag an image, kunyari sa mga dina-download mo sa internet, di ba puro numbers? So, pag dirinag mo yun sa Photoshop, yun yung file name niya, yun yung magiging layer name. So, or either if it's like a vector object from EPS file, meaning yung files na nabubuksan sa Illustrator, EPS. You can transfer vector objects from Illustrator to Photoshop. Yun. For like designing layout. So, yung mga templates, yun. I can teach you about that later. Yun. So, it's good to rename para at least organize ka and you know what object is that. So, you can rename your layers too. So, next. Ito yung overview ng i-discuss natin tonight. So, filter Photoshop layers. At the top of the layers panel, the filtering options help you find key layers in complex documents quickly. You can Display a subset of layers based on name, kind, effect, mode, attribute, or color label. So, ito yon. Filter layers options in the layers panel. So, parang kinakategorize niya kung ano yung mga effects, at least, yan, no? Kind ng effect, mode dun sa layers mo. So, parang when you like search something sa like Lazada, kunyari, categorize, 'di ba? If you want like gusto ko lang ng kunyari phones or gadgets, 'di ba? Fini-filter out niya yung search mo kapag meron ka lang certain na category na i-choose. So parang ganun din sa Photoshop layers. So may ganyan or organized siya, 'di ba? Kasi pag marami ka na layers, usually parang hirap na hanapin. So yun yung use ni filter Photoshop layers. Tapos ito, next, we are gonna discuss about layer masking basics. Ito very useful to sa editing kasi it's a non-destructive way of altering an image. Kasi when you crop sa Photoshop, 'di ba, pag na-select ka na, tapos like kinat mo na siya, di mo na siya mababalik sa original state mo. Eh, paano kung yung cleanup mo is parang may namali ka, eh, na-crop na. Siyempre, pag kinontrol Z mo, or at least undo yung ginawa mo, babalik ulit siya sa original state niya. So, ulit ka na naman. So, layer masking is something na important kasi when you use this, when you use this, pa-share screen pa naman. When you use this, nakaano ba ako? There. Okay pa naman, no? Ayun, share screen. Parang nawala eh. There. Sana. There. When you use this, parang ina-alter niya yung image, pero kapag gusto mo i-edit yung kunyari nagkamali ka sa pag-crop and you want to parang linisin lang yung kunyari certain part ng clean up mo, pwede mo pa rin siya ibalik. So, yan, layer masking is a reversible way to hide part of a layer. This gives you more editing flexibility than permanently erasing or deleting part of a layer. Layer masking is useful for making image composites, cutting out objects there, for use in other documents, and limiting edits to part of a layer. So hindi ka na mag-worry kapag baka magkamali ka sa pagka-crop mo, and there's always a layer mask na to save you sa mistakes mo. So, yan, layer masking, very important. Tsaka marami siyang use talaga in a lot of sa adjusting a lot of what do you call this, yung colors sa certain part lang ng image mo, you can do that. So if you want to lighten lang yung certain part ng model, or at least yung kunyari sa model, sa face, you want to lighten like one part, you can use a layer mask and an adjustment layer, which is I'm gonna discuss too. So pag yun, na-select, and you want a bit, parang nagkamali ka sa certain part na, ayaw mo lighten yung part na to. So, pwede mo siyang i-adjust the layer mask. So, yun, this is important. So, we see here, ito yung panel, di ba, ng layers. And this one in the left is yung thumbnail ng layer natin. And then, the next one is another thumbnail, which is your layer mask. And then, here, sa baba ng panel, di ba may options yan, ito yung mga blending mode effects. I mean, yung layer effects, ito pa, layer effects. This is the layer mask icon. Here. Ito yung adjustment layer, ito yung group. Itong folder na to is group. And then, this one, parang paper icon is new layer. And then, this trash bin, ay, puro black. Bakit kaya? Wait lang. Black ba?
Good on my side,
Good ba?
coach.
Baka kailangan enter again. Okay naman. Sige, wait. Saan ako? Si marami to eh. Saan na tayo? Current slide, it's fine naman. Okay. Recon lang yan. Yan. There you go. So, gets naman, no? Pero, if ever naman na na-miss out mo, you can watch naman recorded. So, okay lang. So, yan. Ito, guys, very important to. Yan. And here din, ito, yung lock, yung parang padlock na yan. So, you can lock layers. I can demonstrate naman later. So, kunyari, ayaw mo magalaw yung certain part ng layer na yun kasi, syempre, ayaw mong ma-edit na accidentally. You can lock a layer. So, yan. Layer effects, itong FX, layer mask icon, adjustment layer, folder, ito yung grouping, layers, and then new layer, and then delete layer. So, yan. So, next na tayo. Understand smart objects. Madami to guys kasi parang kasi ito maraming need to understand sa when it comes to like using the layer. So I want you guys to understand and learn yung mga kasi baka pag nag-start na kayo mag-edit kasi I have homework for you guys to practice on, or at least you, since magdi-discuss tayo ng layout next week. So, yun, heads up na lang na I want you to do a layout and I will give pegs, ibig sabihin parang samples or like references, reference to what, like the idea of I want you to do. So, yan. So, I want you to understand yung mga pwedeng nyong gawin sa layers. So, ito, understand smart objects. So, smart objects are layers that contain image data from raster or vector images, such as Photoshop or Illustrator files. Yan. Smart objects preserve an image's source content with all its original characteristics, enabling you to perform non-destructive editing to the layer. So, meaning, pag may transfer kayo na vector na object from later, I'll show you how. You can drag it sa Photoshop and yun, magiging vector smart object siya. Meaning kasi, even though i-scale mo siya to smaller to the biggest, na if you want to scale a vector smart object, hindi nasisira yung pixels niya. Kasi, ano siya, parang hindi siya raster na object. Like, ibig sabihin, hindi siya pixels. So, hindi siya magpa-pixelate. So, mariretain niya yung quality ng image kapag vector smart object. And you can also convert, kunyari, you edited like a text with a lot of effects. Parang mga mamaya bibigyan ko yung samples like mga text na parang logo na din for like kunyari sa event may text na kay New Year's celebration tapos para siyang creative na text logo. Then you want to put 'di ba may effects na siya and yan maganda na siya effects tapos pag skinale mo siya, syempre hindi siya accurate. Parang ibabasa ng Photoshop yung mga effects. Mag-iiba yung form niya kapag liniitan mo. So, yung kunyari may drop shadow siya, yung sa original na size niya, sakto yung drop shadow. Pero pag niliitan mo, syempre, mag-iiba yung drop shadow sa pagkakabasa ng Photoshop. So, papangit. Kasi hindi na siya mukhang yung original na ginawa mo. So, you can convert it to a smart object. So, kahit i-adjust mo siya, although permanently na siya na ganun, you can't edit that. So, pag in-adjust mo yung text na yon, hindi siya magbabago. Yung state na pagka yung effects na nilagay mo do sa text na yon, so hindi siya magbabago. Yun. So, gets naman natin, no? Medyo, siguro parang, sa imagine, parang paano kaya yun? Pero later naman, i-demonstrate. So, yan. So, keep in mind lang, dun sa ito, sa icon, meaning ito yung vector smart object. Yan. The icon in the lower right corner of the thumbnail. Ito. So, next. Smart object benefits. With smart objects, you can perform non-destructive transforms. Yun nga, sabi ko, diba? You can scale, rotate, skew, distort perspective, transform, or warp a layer without losing original image data or quality because the transforms don't affect the original data. So, yun yung benefit nung smart object. Work with vector data, such as vector artwork from Illustrator, otherwise would be rasterized in Photoshop. Pero, even though rasterized na siya, pwede mo pa rin siyang like ilipat and then if you scale them, hindi masisira yung quality ng vector. To perform non-destructive filtering, you can edit filters applied to smart objects at any time. So you can edit on it, meaning you can activate smart filters too. So mamaya ma-discuss naman yan. Edit one smart object and automatically update all its linked instances. Apply a layer mask that's either linked or unlinked to the smart object layer. Try various designs with low-resolution placeholder images that you later replace with final versions. Yan. Ito lang yung benefits. Yarn. And there you go. You can perform operations that alter pixel data, such as painting, dodging, burning, or cloning directly to a smart object layer, unless it is first converted into a regular layer. So, ito, hindi mo siya ma-edit like yung image na rastered na siya mamaya. So, hindi mo siya ma-accidentally na pag pinaint mo, mag-aano siya e-error kasi nga hindi siya pwedeng ma-edit. Tapos magpa-prompt siya na convert to raster, like rasters the image so you can edit, ganon. To perform operations that alter pixel data, you can edit the contents of a smart object, clone a new layer above the smart object layer, edit duplicates of the smart object to, or create a new layer. So, if you want to try something out and ayaw ma-damage yung original state nung layer mo, you can always duplicate it and make it rasterized. So, at least di nadadamage yung original mo na image. So, note, when you transform a smart object that has a smart filter applied to it, Photoshop turns off filter effects. Mamaya yun, i-demonstrate. So, filter effects are applied again. So, parang overview lang ng tuturo ko today. So, madami, Madami. Pero, kasi parang inano ko lang, medyo hinimay-himay ko lang. Pero pag nandun na sa demonstration, madali naman na siya. So, yan. Ito, apply smart filters. So, ito layers panel. So, nandyan na lahat, di ba? Ito, vector smart object siya, or smart object siya. So, you can apply filters. Ito yung layer mask natin, and you can alter yung kung ano lang yung nakaselect sa layer mask. You can yung gradient map, black and white, yung curves, maraming adjustment layer or adjustments na pwede mong gawin sa certain part lang using a layer mask. So mamaya yan. Any filter applied to a smart object is a smart filter. You can adjust, remove, or hide smart filters. They are non-destructive. So, meaning, kahit ano mo adjust mo dyan, hindi niya ma-affect yung original mo na image. So, para lang siyang nakapatong. Para lang siyang filter. Parang sa Instagram. Di ba, pag yung no filter, parang hindi ako flawless. Pero pag pinindot mo kung ano man filter yan, may pa-makeup pa, di ba? Na filter niya yung mukha mo. So, hindi kanya na-enhance in real life. Pero sa social media, pag magpa-post ka ng photo, 'di ba, na-enhance. So, parang gano'n, di na-affect yung original mo. Sa sa kakamera lang, 'di ba? Parang ganun din dito, yung idea niya. So, yan. So sad 'yun, 'di ba? Sa ano lang, digital lang. Ikaw flawless. Charot lang. So, yan. So, next naman, blending modes. Ang daming itatakil sa layers pa lang. Kasi, you need to be familiarized yung pwede nyong gawin sa Photoshop. So, I don't want to, of course, like, give you like homework agad sa designs and then you don't understand like paano bang gamitin tong Photoshop. So blending modes, ito mo very what you call this, very useful to sa iba't ibang images. So depending on like how to blend your what you call this, I'll demonstrate some techniques later like using blending modes. Yan. There. So, ito, overview, when you click yung dito malapit sa opacity. So, ito, normal to dissolve. Yan. Overview. Yan, ang dami. There. Normal. Edits or paints each pixel to make it the result color. This is the default mode. So, normal mode, yung image mo, yun, nasa normal mode yan usually. So, yan yung normal. So, walang pagbabago. So, dissolve. There you go. Siguro hindi ko na babasahin masyado, pero yan. So, may dissolve, may behind. You clear, darken, multiply. If you wanna come back naman sa lesson na to, you can review, you can read it, you can pause it, so you can read. So, pero hindi din tayo masyadong matagal yung class natin, syempre. Monday tomorrow, if meron pa kayong maaga pa kayo later. There you go. And then next, there's color burn, linear burn, lighten, screen, dodge. So, usually nakakategorize yan yung mga pang lighten, yung pang darken na blend modes. Yan. Color burn, linear burn. Di ba kanina, there's darken, multiply. Yan. Magkakasama yan. Color burn and linear burn. Sa category ng making blending yung darker. And then lighten, screen, color dodge, and linear dodge. Yan, di ba? Or add. And then there's like overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, pin light. So, ito. Ang dami kasi niya Yung in-explain niya talaga how, pero it's good to parang explore on your own din on how to apply these. Kasi sobrang dami. Sobrang daming blending modes. So yan. And then hard mix. So ito meron din note for CMYK images. Hard mix changes all pixels to the primary subtractive colors, white or black. Medyo masyado siya malalim na, pero usually di naman lahat ginagamit sa blending modes. So difference, exclusion, subtract, divide, hue, and saturation. And then there's color, luminosity, and then lighter color, and then darker color. Yan yung blend modes. Hindi ko nababasahin kasi hahaba tayo. So, blending mode samples, ito. Here, it will show you the look of the blending modes. So, there. So, ito yung original image, right? And then, I guess ito sa sample is it painted over like a solid color here sa image niya. And then, ito yung normal 100 na opacity, 100% opacity. So, 'di ba? Parang di mo makita yung nasa yung original image, 'di ba? So, solid siya, normal. So, normal with 50% opacity kasi you can adjust yung transparency ng layer, 'di ba? There you go. Normal 50%, and then there's dissolve. So, looking at this, yung dissolve, 'di ba para siyang yung nagpi-pixelize yung layer na to. So, yan yung dissolve. Yan example ng dissolve. 50% opacity. But you can also like up the 100% here. 'Di ba yung dissolve dito, nakikita mo yung pixels. So, next naman, yung behind. I guess yung color niya from here, parang nagbe-blend siya. Yung white and yellow. And then there's clear, I guess, because yellow siya and the blending mode is, clear. So, naging white. And then darken, yung original image here and then yung yellow na pinatong is nag-blend siya in a way na parang nag-darken yung features pero in a yellowish way kasi nga blend niya yung color dito sa image. Parang ang scary ng image no na nakuha ko. Pero sample to sa Adobe. So and then there's multiply. So parang bine-blend din niya yung color na to in a darker way. So medyo magkaiba siya, 'di ba, yung effect niya. There. Medyo konting mas darker si multiply here. Can you see naman yung difference? And then next is color burn. So meaning yung color kasi parang sinunog, 'di ba yung pag color ng nasunog? Tingnan mo parang yung pagka-burn ng color na yellow sa darker parts ng images. Ayan, naging mas darker. And then linear burn, parang multiply pero mas darker yung yellow niya. Pero same ng color ng burn, 'di ba? Pero mas darker yung yellow. And then lighten, so obviously nilighten up niya yung parts kung saan yung highlights ng image. Yan, yung yellow. Blend niya. And then, here sa screen, medyo mas lighter yung highlight or yung shadow niya dito. Pero same pa rin ng highlights, di ba? White. Medyo mas lighter lang onte. Nung yellow. And then, color dodge. Mas lighter siya. Pero meron din yung nakukuha niya yung parang darker parts. Cause dodge. Na medyo parang ito, dark part. I guess sa image kasi yung pag-blend niya. And then linear dodge. Mas lighter all parts. And then overlay. So parang in-overlay lang niya yung color. Kasi itong original image, 'di ba, parang very bland lang yung color niya, parang wala masyadong kulay. And then next is dito sa overlay, yung color na yellow, parang blend niya dun sa image. So parang nagka-color yung original image yan, yung face niya. Kung saan yung highlight di here. So nagka-color. Pero parang na-enhance siya in a way. So soft light, so blend niya yung color in a softer way ng solid color na yellow sa image, di ba? And then there's hard light, so parang yun nga, from soft light, hard light, much darker ang pagka-blend niya. And there's vivid light, na enhance niya yung outlines kasi from the image, ito yung mga parang darker. So yung mas vivid na colors sa image na to, so yun yung nakuha niya. While blending yung color yellow. And then there's linear light. So parang ano lang, very linear sa colors, 'di ba? Yung color na outlines niya same. And then yung highlights and then yung shadows from blending in like yung yellow color na pinatong niya. And then pin light, kasi kung saan lang yung light niya, saan ba yung light? So yung light source niya is dito. So ito yung nare-recognize nung pin light na na blending mode. since color yellow siya, and yung highlights is nandito lang, kasi pin light, diba? Kung saan yung light. So dito, dark na siya. Kasi ito lang yung lighter side, yung highlight ng image. And then, hard mix. Yan. So, parang mix of like dark and light. Di ko maintindihan kung bakit ganyan yung result. I guess because of yung color yellow and then yung highlights and yung shadows ng image. So, ganyan yung pagka-blend niya. And then, difference. Yan, parang negative na color. Alam niyo yung sa negative sa film, parang ganon. Yan. Same as this, pero much lighter. And then subtract. Yung color na yellow, parang I guess yung pag-blend niya, sinubtract niya yung color yellow, which is blue. Parang in cooler color tone. Hindi na siya warm. And then, divide yan. Though, di ko masyado ginagamit yung lahat, pero this is the best way to explain it. So, yung hue, I guess, blending the hue of the color, yung color yellow sa image. Kasi we can see here, yung original image natin, di ba, may colors pa siya na iba-iba. But here, sa hue, parang, ano siya, naging same color na din. Parang nag-blend siya sa yellow. And then, saturation. So, na-saturate niya yung colors na within dun sa selected na areas na may yellow paint. Yan, na-saturate yung colors, na-enhance in a way. And then, there's color. So, na-color niya, blend niya as yellow. Here. And then, luminosity, 80% opacity. So, yan. Yung effect. And then, lighter color, darker color. So, mahirap siyang i-absorb. Pero, yan yung mga blending modes. Examples of blending modes. But you can always practice and explore how your images can blend. Kasi hindi ko naman matuturo in a way na, syempre, very, to be in depth. Pero, yeah, at least you're familiar. Ito pala yung effect nito. And when I use this, ito pala yung effect nito. So, next. Okay pa ba kayo, guys? Kaya pa? Wala pa tayong demo nito. Pero kasi, ang dami talagang di-discuss about layers. Questions? Meron ba? Kaya pa? Na-absorb pa naman? Okay naman po. So far, so good. Yeah. Kasi, I'm just worried baka naman, na kayo information overload. Pero if, hindi naman, it's recorded so you can go back naman. So, yes. Kaka-overwhelm lang konti. Yes, ang dami talaga. Pero, don't worry kasi, hindi naman siya usually lahat ginagamit. So, at least you're familiar lang about what Photoshop can do when it comes to editing. May activity ba nito after? Yes, after before ending my class, I'll give you like an overview sa what you can do this coming week. Pero yun nga, sabi ko, heads up that I'll be giving an assignment or a homework that you can practice yung layouting. But I will give some pegs and reference on how you will do it. Ganon. I'll show you later. So, ito mapapractice yung layouting skills nyo. And how you pick your fonts, then typography. So I can see yung at least mag-gauge ko yung kumbaga yung strengths and weaknesses ng bawat isa when it comes to layout. Kasi syempre the reason why we're discussing, of course, like Photoshop, at least it will help you to, diba, to use it for client work, ganyan, like for posting, for ads, ganyan. So since ako naman, I work in a creative agency, so kasi nakita ko yung mga samples na assignments, 'di ba, sabi ko parang okay, crop lang kayo, and then if you want to be creative, you can put si ate girl kung saan-saan, like sa background or like ad type. Pero yun, nakita ko kasi yung iba, I would honestly say na may weaknesses sa typography, sa choosing ng fonts and how like colors are used. So, importante yun kasi sa how to make your ads attractive din. Coach, pwede po ba pahingin ng slides? Nako, I can't. Pero, nasa na recorded naman eh. So, pwede yung ulit-ulitin. Unlimited, di ba, sa Quick Pro. Okay. We need to understand it all. Yeah, true. Coach, not allowed ang slides. Yes. Di ko po, DL yung software, coach. Hala. Sa site ba? Siguro ask sa support kung paano, if you want. So, yan. So, ano na tayo para hindi tayo mag-end na late din. So, about adjustment and fill layers, ito na. Medyo malapit na tayo, and then I can demonstrate how. I do not know. Lovely, follow instructions. Yes, yes. There you go. An adjustment layer applies color and tonal adjustments to your image without permanently changing pixel values. For example, rather than making a levels or curves adjustments, which is yung adjustment ng brightness or yung shadows ng image mo directly to your image, which is you can do sa menu, may adjustment doon, di ba? You can create a levels or curves adjustment layer sa sa layers mo. So, you can adjust. Yan. The color and tonal adjustments are stored in the adjustment layer and applied to all the layers below it. You can correct multiple layers by making a single adjustment rather than adjusting each layer separately. You can discard your changes and restore the original image at any time. So, yan yung adjustment layer, which is I will discuss naman later. And adjustment layers provide the following advantages. Non-destructive edits. You can try different settings and re-edit the adjustment layer at any time. You can also reduce the effect of the adjustment by lowering the opacity of the layer. Yun. So, very, very useful to. Kasi, in case na parang hindi kayo sure sa adjustment ng color sa image nyo, you can always adjust it. Hindi kagaya nung sa adjustment sa mismong menu bar ng Photoshop kasi you can adjust it yung mismong image ma-alter niya. Okay. Sige, go. Selective editing. Paint on the adjustment layer image mask to apply an adjustment to part of an image. So this is where you apply the layer mask to. So adjustment layers and layer mask partner yan sila. Para at least meron lang certain part sa image mo na gusto mong i-adjust pero ayaw madama yung iba sa sa image. So ito very important. So selective editing. So which is good kasi syempre parang hindi ma-disrupt yung buong image mo. So that's the adjustment layer and layer mask combined. So later you can control which parts of the image are adjusted by re-editing the layer mask. You can vary the adjustment by painting on the mask with different tones of gray. So later I discuss ko yan. Ability to apply adjustments to multiple images. Copy and paste adjustment layers between images to apply the same color and tonal adjustments. I guess, medyo parang, paano kaya yun? For people na, syempre, very new sa Photoshop. And then, ito na. An image sample. Adjustment and fill layers. So, there you go. So, ito yung sample ng adjustment layer. Pero medyo iba na yung itsura niya pag sa kasi nakuha ko to sa Photoshop, Adobe website yung mga screenshots. So here levels. So ito yung adjustment layer sa A, adjustment layer. And then it's confined to log home layer only. So naka-clip siya. clipping mask ang tawag doon. So, mamaya, i-explain ko din. Ang dami kasi magagawa talaga sa Photoshop. So, para ma-enjoy nyo talaga mag-edit kapag nalaman nyo how to use all of it and how convenient it will be and efficient you will be when it comes to your designs. So, yan. So, naka-confine siya. Itong parang arrow na to na nakalagay, meaning, naka-confine lang siya dito sa layer na to. So, hindi siya ma-apply sa other mo na, other na nakalagay sa layers mo. And then, layer thumbnail, of course, ito. Fill layer, this one. So, usually, fill layers can be parang when you put like a background color, solid color, you can adjust anytime. So, yan. And then, layer mask. Of course, itong part na to, layer mask. Ito. Yung katabi ni layer. Yan. Ng thumbnail. Ng layer mo. So, next. Next naman is layer styles. Ito din. Ito yung sample ng layer style dialog box. So, you can check kung anong effects or layer styles you want to do. So, later demonstrate ko yan. So, may layer style. So, pag click mo yung layer, certain layer, double click mo yung certain layer, lalabas yung layer styles. So, meron siyang dialog box that you can do like a lot of effects on. So, yan. Examples ng effects is you can create custom styles using one or more of the following effects, which is drop shadow, inner shadow, outer glow and inner glow, bevel and emboss, satin, color gradient, nasan na? Last na pala yun. Color gradient and pattern overlay, and then stroke. Yun. So, yan ang examples ng ating layer styles. So, end slide. Questions? Questions? Meron ba? So, yes. Overwhelming a bit, but yes. Demo na. Sige. So, here, si ate girl, ito na ang ating base model si ate girl, pati sa assignment. So, hindi na tayo mag-change. So, as you can see here, si ate girl, rastered na to ha. Kasi wala siyang, what you call this? Wala siyang icon na sinasabi na smart object siya. So, raster siya na image. Pero you can convert it to a, what you call this? Smart object. So, I guess we will say na, okay, we will put curves adjustment layer. So, yan. Nung I added an adjustment layer, which is here sa lower part sa middle, yan, adjustment layer yan. When you select it, ito ang dami, di ba, options. So, usually, curves, when you, gusto ko lighten up siya ng onte, yan, lighter. Tapos, yung brighten up siya, and then, I guess, medyo parang, yung, niya, medyo deep yung shadows. Yan, adjust. So, pag ito, inalis ko yung visibility, yan, indicates layer visibility, this eye, diba? Yan, makikita yung difference. So, medyo overexposed siya, pero just to demonstrate, yan. Diba? And then, nung nag-create ako nung adjustment layer, meron na siyang layer mask na nakalagay. So, for example, pag, ito diba, pag clinic mo si ate girl, mapapansin nyo, itong colors dito, diba, yellow, yung foreground ko, and white yung background ko. Then, when I clicked here sa layer mask, boom, naging black and white siya. Why black and white? Kasi pag when you fill up this layer mask to black, all black, which is ang shortcut is alt delete. Yan, alt delete. 'Di ba nawala yung effect, 'di ba? So kahit itoggle ko tong visibility, yun pa rin, yung original image pa rin nagso-show. So meaning, 'di ba, sabi kasi dun sa slide kanina na it can hide yung adjustment mo. So black na siya. So hindi na siya kita. So pag tinoggle natin to, like itong pinagpalit natin color. So white na siya. Or you can toggle X. Yung shortcut is X to toggle. So white. So yung color white. So press natin yung brush natin. So shortcut is B. So lakihan natin yung brush natin. So kung gusto niyo i-reveal yung certain na adjustment sa image mo, kunyari gusto lang natin i-lighten up yung, I guess, yung face ni ate girl. So, usually, if you want 100% na effect, ayan, nag-show talaga siya. Usually, soft round ako kasi pag hard round, sobrang, niya, depende. Kung gusto mo, medyo softer yung effect niya. Kasi pag hard, you see here, yung pixel is really, yung hard-edged siya. So, usually pag ganyan, soft round brush ako para hindi siya, parang bine-blend mo lang, di ba? So, let's say, yung face lang ni ate girl yung, natin. I-brighten up, yan. Yung part na to. Di ba? Yan. So, pag zoom out mo, brighter na yung face niya. Pero, hindi niya na-damage yung mismong layer. Diba? Yan, no? So, ito lang, using layer mask, using a white, like, color, kasi black and white lang siya. Pero, pag ginawa mo siyang medyo, yung tone niya is, grayish, iba din. Parang siyang nagiging opaque yung effect niya. So, pag pinaint over mo yung black, bumabalik siya sa original state niya. So, ganun lang. Kunyari, nag-paint over ako, di ba? Why? Ito yung gusto kong adjust. Tapos parang nagkamali ako dito. Parang, ay, masama yung hair. I can always go back to black. Tapos, paint over ko lang dito. Mabalik siya sa original niya na state. Yan. But if ayoko, I want like, okay, parang hindi ako satisfied, I can always just fill the whole or the whole layer mask with black again, alt delete. Bumalik na siya ulit sa original state niya. Tapos kapag naman whole naman yung white or yung yung background color, control delete, yan, 'di ba? Yung buong adjustment na ginawa ng adjustment layer sa buong image na apply. So let's say yung mukha naman ni ate girl yung gusto mo walang adjustment. So you can always you can either select yung kunyari pen tool, select mo, ganyan. So mo select. Pero sa akin, to blend lang, usually binabrush ko na lang siya over. So if you want to select lang yung ganyan sa face. Ay. Yan. So, select mo siya. Make a selection. Kung ayaw mo masyadong hard edge, lagyan mo ng feathered. So, onting pixel lang siya. So, okay. It's either I fill it up with yung black, which is, yun na yung background, control, delete. Yan. Diba? Or either, i-paint over ko lang siya. What do you call this? Yan. Wait, yan. Yan yung original, diba? Tapos, i-paint over ko lang ng black to hide. Pwede din ganun, ipipaint mo lang. Para hindi lang lumagpas, ganun. Pero kung gusto mo lang buo, alt-delete, since yung foreground natin is black, alt-delete lang. Yun. So, yan na siya. So, yung adjust mo lang is yung around ng face ni ate girl. Ba nag-adjust siya. So, yan yung original. Hindi nagalaw yung face, pero pag reveal mo yung visibility nung curves mo, yan, di ba, nag-iiba. Pero hindi affected yung face ni ate girl. So, yan, depending on how you want to adjust certain, like on your image. So, usually, what else? Ganito. Example, I want naman si ate girl, parang black and white siya. So, saturate natin ganyan. Desaturate natin siya. So, gumawa ko ng another layer, which is yung hue saturation. Pero, bakit siya buong image yung naging ganyan? Nasaan na yung in-adjust ko dito? So, napatungan ni hue and saturation. So, you paint black to areas where you don't want to apply the adjustments. Yes. To hide. Kasi yung black is to hide and white is to reveal. Depending sa kung ano yung Kasi kanina, di ba, nung pinaint over ko, black yung image, nawala yung adjustment niya. So, you can paint over white to reveal. But if you want to, kunyari, buong white naman, and then you want to hide something naman sa adjustment mo, paint black. Yun yung yung logic niya doon. So, here naman, kasi kita natin dito, nasan na yung curves ko? Nawala. Kasi, itong hue and saturation, siya yung nag-take over sa buong adjustments. So, kasi itong layer mask na to, meaning, it is all revealed, yung adjustment. So, when I hit Alt-Delete, which is yung foreground color ko is black, yan, na-reveal na yung in-adjust natin kanina, di ba? Ito yung curves, ito yung hue and saturation, nawala. So, hinide ko na kasi pinaint over ko black yung buong layer mask natin. So, what if I just want yung hair ni ate girl lang yung magre-reveal na may color? So, Control, Delete. So, pinaint over ko white. Or at least, yung default kapag nag-create ka ng layer mask is buong white siya. So, I want to hide yung parts na na-affect ng hue and saturation. So, I want to, I guess, yung color lang ng hair ni ate girl. Yan, yung ma-reveal. So, usually kasi parang pinipaint ko lang ganyan. Pero you can always, like that, if ganyan, you can always toggle naman. Toggle X, so white, na ulit yung foreground natin. So, we can at least adjust. Pero you can select it naman para medyo hindi kahirap. Pero, parang mamadali tayo. Para ma-demonstrate lang. My dogs! Mga doggos ka. May nag-doorbell. Sorry, kasi mga doggos ko may narinig. So anyways, ayan. Uy! Sorry guys. Ang doggos na agitate. So yan. 'Di ba? When you paint over your adjustment layer, so na-reveal na yung color ni ate girl. So hindi natin demonstrate masyado malinis. Pero yan, you get the idea. You get the idea na. So since white yung background layer, hindi na tayo masyado hirap kasi dinisaturate lang natin yung background, 'di ba? So, yan. Quickly, lang. What? My little dog. There. So, yan. Nagka-mistake na ako, diba? Yan. So, I can easily erase that. So, there you go. Madali kasi yung image natin, kaya, hindi na natin naalahanin yung background eh. So, yan. Kung ano lang yung na-reveal yung color ng hair niya. Kasi white naman na yung, niya eh. Diba? Yan. So, yan. Oops. Yan. So, yun. Hair lang ni ate girl na reveal. But, you can also adjust din naman to. There. Diba? Parang, saturation. Pero naka-reveal lang yung original na hair, diba? Na color ng hair ni ate girl. Hindi siya na-affect. Kasi hinide natin yung effect doon sa nakapatong na layer. So, yan. Nangyari yung black and white. So, yung hair lang ni ate girl yung may color. So, if you want naman yung lips niya meron, easy lang din. Kasi you can paint over lang naman to hide yung niya. Hide yung effect ng hue and saturation. Diba? For demonstration lang naman to, guys. Pero yan. You get the idea of how to use adjustment layers with layer mask na combos. Yan. Diba? Pero if you want to adjust another thing na, parang medyo hindi siya, parang yung colors niya medyo dull or medyo dark. I mean, parang dull siya. You can always create naman like levels. Ito naman, levels. So, itong levels, ina-adjust niyo yung black and yung gray parts and white parts nung images or like yung highlights and shadows. So, yan, yung brightness niya, yung levels nung image. Yan. And then, if you want to, parang adjust yung parang curves niya ulit, yan. May papatong ka ulit na new curves. So, adjust niya yan. Yan, parang, okay, mas vivid yung color. Yan. Another adjustment. So, yan. So, patong-patong lang siya. So, parang acetate nga talaga. So, you can always like patong yung yung mga adjustments mo if you want like further adjustments to your layers. Kasi dito, hindi niya ma-apply yung curves unless ilipat mo siya dito. Yan. Pero, baliwala din yung ginawa mong pag-hide kasi nandito na yung curves mo nasa taas na Pero yan. Nagets nyo naman yung idea, guys, on how to use adjustment layers. So far, yes. So, yan. You can play around naman with adjustment layers. Basta, you keep in mind yung using the layer mask. Yan. So, you can also use it sa image natin here, which is si ate girl. So, you can click on the layer mask. Yan. And you want to delete yung background. But, you're scared kasi, hindi pa ako masyado magaling mag-crop ng yung, kunyari, mabilis yung precise na cropping na kapag na-crop mo na, wala nang balikan. Ito, may balikan pa. So, may babalikan ka pa dito. So, ito yung idea niya. Since dito wala siyang layer na background, kapag sinelect natin to, ito, nakaselect na yung layer mask natin, and we paint over yung black sa white background, you'll see na nabubura na yung image itself and nasa-show na yung grid or checkerboard, which is meaning transparent na yung image mo. Yung parts na to, transparent na siya. So usually, I use this technique to what do you call this? When I crop, in case that I make a mistake in cropping, kunyari, okay, kunyari crop na, itong part na to. Itong part na to. Kunyari, ang pag-crop ko ganyan. Tapos nagmamadali ako. Tapos make selection ko, and then, you can alt-delete naman. Alt-delete, yan. O, parang, hala, putol tong side na to. Parang hindi siya clean na crop. So, it's either, I can paint over yung white to reveal yung original state niya. Yan. So, I can crop again. So parang, mistake ko. Ayusin ko. At least dito, tapos ka na, diba? And, let's say, yan. Okay, tama na yung pagka-crop ko. Okay. I'm 0 para, Then, alt-delete, control-delete kasi yung black natin nasa background. Yan, control-delete. So, yan. Diba? Mas cleaner na siya. And you can always get back to it kasi if ever na you made mistakes in cropping, you can always use yung layer mask. So, yan yung technique. Na-overwhelm na ako, coach. Saang part? So, ganito lang. Layer mask is something na parang you can use to hide yung in-adjust mo sa image mo. Hide or show sa adjustment without damaging or yung being destructive sa image mo. Ang hirap po mag-cut out ng hair. Yes, super hirap siya talaga. Pero there are a lot of techniques naman you can search sa YouTube. Kasi I can't really discuss yung in-depth manner yung lahat kasi alam ko you have a lot of questions and I know we can't really discuss all of it dito. But yeah, there's a lot of tutorials. So, kahit ako minsan, kasi accurately mahirap talaga siya. Kahit ako, hirap din ako minsan. Depending kasi sa quality ng image yung ito. Kasi very limited din si Photoshop na i-recognize niya in a way. Pero may nakita naman ako na student na nagawaan niya ng paraan yung very clean naman. So yeah, usually ganyan. Yung use na layer mask. So yan lang yung So kaya that's why I use selection. Hindi ako nagpe-paint lang. Kasi minsan na-affect yun dito since soft round. To blend it better, hindi siya yung hard round. Kasi pag hard round, medyo, sharp yung niya eh. So, yan. Mas better pa rin mag-use ng selection. So, yan. At least, hindi niya nasisira yung image mo. Na-hide lang niya. So, usually, yan yung technique ko for cropping. Or like, yung selection, quick selection tool, sa hair, ganyan. Usually, work yung select and mask. Tapos ito, select niya yung mga hair strands. Pero depending kasi sa image kung paano nare-read ni Photoshop yung image. So, yan. So, pinipaint over ko yung hair strands. So, ma-recognize niya, ito lang yung isa-select ko. Usually, it helps sa layer masking, pero hindi siya accurate minsan. So, kunyari, nakabaliktad yung selection. Usually, ganyan yung ginagawa ko pag sa work, pero hindi siya accurate minsan, depending sa strands ng hair. So, inayos ko na lang siya, in a way. Pero may mga techniques naman sa internet, if you really want it to be cleaner. Kasi minsan sa mga agency, mabilisan yung design. Kunyari, meron si certain SM mall, ay gusto ko ng ganitong ad design for this, like 3-day sale, ganyan, and I want this and that. Tapos, ang magpapasa ka, kailan? Today, gano'n. Tapos, ilang study? 2. Ganyan kami. So, So, yung mga editing din, at least, ano lang, diskarte lang na mukha lang malinis, pero pag malayo, sakto lang naman siya. So, yun. Usually, madalian kasi yung designing na layout sa ads sa malls. Ganun talaga siya I need it today. Ganun. So, hopefully, hindi naman ganun sa client works nyo. Kasi ganun lang talaga sa malls kasi nagmamadali sila lagi. Ganun sila. So, yan ang layer masking. At least, you have like technique to do so. So, if ever you want to add something, meron kasi ako nakita, nag-edit like may bag si ate girl. So, if you want to, kunyari meron siyang hawak na shopping bag. Paano po galing sa mobile camera ang image? Depending sa okay lang naman kung kaya mo i-enhance yung photo to make it like presentable. Depending din kasi the more lower quality the image, of course, the more it is difficult to enhance or edit. Kasi syempre, depending yun sa pixels eh. And usually kasi pag mga ad posts is pixel based, 'di ba? Digital. So yan. So ganyan lang ako mag-crop minsan. Pero sineselect ko pa rin naman. Pero I utilize yung layer mask para hindi na ikaw mahirapan bumalik, or at least pag na-crop mo na siya sa original image, may pwede ka pang balikan. Kasi pag yung kinrap mo diretso sa original image mo, tapos nagkamali ka, ulit ka na naman. So, 'di ba, time consuming siya. So, layer mask is a good way to what you call this? It's a good way to to like to correct mistakes. Paano mag-enhance? What do you mean like enhance? So, yan. Gets yun naman so far, no? So, yan. Yung adjustment layers. And then, creating a new layer. Syempre, ito lang. And blank lang siya, transparent. So, when you create a new layer, transparent siya. Blank. Yung bag ulit, coach, papaano? Okay, sige. Sige, hanap ako ng shopping bag na PNG. Shopping, I buy that. Shopping bag, PNG. Yung bag akin ata yun. So, ano lang, demo lang siguro. Kasi, wait, hanap tayo ng PNG. Ito kunyari. Kunyari shopping si ate girl. Ganun. Ma-download ba natin to? Shopping bag. Allow. Use, okay. Ito medyo realistic naman. Okay, okay. So, download. Where's the download button? Ayaw. Okay, hanap tayong iba. Kasi pag nag-ano pa ako hanap. Kailangan pag ano kayo, pipili ng images. Usually, imagine niyo kung correct ba yung angle nung gagamitin nyo na, kunyari, na ilalagay nyo, ipapatong nyo sa model para hindi siya mukhang, awkward. Ito parang pwede to. Tote bag. Sige, ayan, may nakuha akong to. May sign up. My God. Wait a minute. Ayaw tayong pag-downloadin.
Coach, sa Discord meron na, coach.
Alin?
Sa Discord.
Sa Discord? Sige. Saan doon? Discord.
Sa OBM chat support po.
OBM chat. Okay. Wait. Here. Naku, kailangan natin edit to.
Ay, sorry.
Sige, mukhang kaya naman to, mabilisan. Mabilisang ano tayo, editing. Wow. So, lagay ko sa Quick Pro ko na folder yan. So, there. So, drag natin yung image. So, yan. Nandiyan na yung bag na edit natin. So, usually, ayan, di ba pag nilagay siya, yung, nagiging smart object siya, di ba? So, kahit anong i-alter mo, ma-accident mo na, okay, brush tool mo, yan, could not use the brush tool because the smart object is not directly editable. If you want to directly edit it, so, yan, rasterize layer, ito. Right-click yung image and rasterize layer. So, we can see here na nawala. Nawala yung icon. So, you can paint over na. Pero we don't want that kasi hindi naman natin directly edit. So, which is good kasi at least hindi na natin madadamage. So, yan. We press the quick mask layer or the mask layer, quick mask layer here, the layer mask. So, nagkaroon na siya. So, you can edit na. 'Di ba? Yan. So, since nasa black background siya, kaya ba natin fast edit to? Nako na, may nadadamage dito. May nahanap siyang lusot. So, pick selection. Siguro yan. Mabilisan na lang guys ha. Kahit medyo hindi siya clean na na cropping. So, yan. So, since nasa black background siya, yan, na-recognize naman niya. So, minsan, pag gusto ko lang naman, yan, yan. Yan. So, yung mga na-select niya, binura ko, yan, with the paint. Pero yung loob, hindi. Kasi ito lang yung outer part lang yung na-select. Pero yun, mayroon pa siyang hindi na-select, diba? Sa quick selection tool. So, usually, pag yan, binubura ko na lang ng black to hide it. Yan. Yan. Diba? Na-edit na. So, usually, pag ganyan, ayun lang. Mayroong plant doon nakatabi. So, edit na lang na. Like, tinatry kung gusto ko precise na, pinapen tool ko na siya. Yan. Yan. Make selection, tapos yan. Kaso may ganyan. Wag na natin pansinin yan. Kunyari na lang, wala yan. O, di ba hindi na mahalata? Yun. So, crop na siya, di ba? Though, minsan, makikita nyo meron pang lines kasi hindi na select ng maayos. So, minubura ko na lang. Yan. O, di ba na-crop na siya? Pero, if you want to, if may mistake ka pa rin, syempre, you can always get back to it. Well, yan. Di ba? Easy lang. Pero ayaw mo na. Ang bilis naman galing. Yun. Years of experience. Sure. Practice lang. So, yan, di ba? May bag na tayo. Okay ka na. Ayaw mo na siyang i-edit. Di ba? Pwede mo na siyang convert to smart object. There. Di ba? Right-click, tapos convert to smart object. Yan. Bag na lang siya. Wala na yung edit natin. Though, yung dimension nung bag, yung image ng bag, nandun pa rin pag transform mo. Pero, hindi mo na siya magagalaw. Or at least, pag nagkamali ka, diba? Sa layer mask, nabura mo yung layer mask, tapos babalik ulit siya sa original image. Hindi na siya mangyayari. Hindi na siya mabubura. So, paano natin gagawin na parang nakasabit siya sa ni ate girl? So, yung angle niya parang, pag yung original angle niya parang hindi, di ba? So, flip lang natin. So, adjust natin siya. I guess, mas okay kapag nandito siya sa, parang nakasabit siya sa arm ni ate girl. Hindi na natin enhance to blend, pero here's a good technique. So, since dinelete na natin yung layer mask niya, kasi clean up natin siya using layer mask. So, kinonvert ko siya sa smart object, which is better kasi if you want to blend this bag, or at least mukha siyang nakasabit kay ate girl, i-hide ko lang yung parts kung saan yung bag mukha siyang nakasabit. So, we can see here, ito lang, di ba, yung hand ni ate girl. Yan. Make selection. Ito yung power ng layer masking, di ba? Yan. Mukha na siyang nakahawak. Pero, siguro adjust pa natin ng onte. Yan. Siguro ganyan. Na-crop na yun dito. So, adjust mo na lang, di ba? Kasi may layer mask tayo. So, I guess to, since revealed siya, at least, or if hindi nyo makita, di ba parang, paano natin i-edit to, crop to? You can always toggle yung opacity ng layer, which is ito. Yan. So, it shows saan lang tayo magka-crop, hanggang saan lang tayo magka-crop, di ba? So, yan. Siguro itong arm, and then yung sa collar niya, I guess. Ito. Yan. And then, since ito, we need to bring back yung handle ng bag. Yan. So, syempre hindi mo tansya, 'di ba? Kung saan yung ikot ng bag. So, since yung siya, opaque, nakikita mo yung likod, you can make a selection, and then, yan. Control delete kasi yung black for, background. So, yan na siya. So, reveal mo ulit, 100%. Yan na siya. 'Di ba? Mas okay. Godlike. 'Di ba? Yan. At least, pag gusto mo i-adjust pa siya ng onte, yung angle, you can always adjust it. Pero, sige, magiging extra na tayo. Kunyari, gusto ko mas vivid yung color ng bag, 'di ba? Mas vivid yung color ng bag. I want it much more vivid na color. So, I guess, hue and saturation, saturate natin yung image. Kaso na-affect si ate girl, 'di ba? Affected siya. So, yan layer mask na yan. I guess, clipping mask. Yan. So, yun. Di ba na-affect siya si ate girl? Pero, since we have, na dito, parang may image na tayo dito, we can always use a clipping mask. So, kasi, yung nare-recognize lang niya is yung image na ito. So, right-click, create clipping mask, di ba? So, ito lang, yung bag lang yung naging na-enhance, di ba? And then, you can always adjust it. You can click, kunyari, double-click itong thumbnail na to, and there, mag-reveal yung properties niya. So, usually, you can change yung hue. Yan, nag-iba yung color niya, di ba? Yung hue, kunyari, okay, medyo matching sa clothes niya. Ano ba? I mean, okay din naman tong color na to. Siguro yung original color. Pero, medyo dull siya, di ba? Parang, hindi siya attractive tignan. So, yan, i-saturate lang natin. Parang, enhance lang natin yung color. So, yan. Clipping mask, yan. Yan din very useful din yung clipping mask. Yan. Yan. Okay ba? Paano? Coach, palitan ng color shirt ni ate girl. Nako. Ito din. So, ayan. May bag na si ate girl. Sorry, hindi ko natatapusin yung pag-crop dito, ha. ano na lang, parang ano na lang yan, demo. So, may technique sa pag-change ng color ng shirt ni Ate Girl. So, ito medyo maproseso pero go lang. So, magka-create tayo ng what you call this? Solid color. Yan, solid color. Yan, 'di ba? May bag na siya. So, change natin yung kanyang shirt. It is possible sa white if you want to make it colored. So, solid color. Yan. Pero, baba natin. Yan. So, i-control delete ko since ayoko lahat, 'di ba? So, select natin. Hopefully, ma-select niya yung ano. Okay, hide muna natin yung bag. So, if you want ito, para kasi pag minove mo, ito, pwede naman siya, nasasama siya kasi naka-clip yung adjustment mo sa layer. So, kahit hindi na i-group. Pero, I always want it to be organized. Tignan. So, I always just group them. Kunyari, bag. Yan, bag. Rename it, bag. So, yan. Pag sinelect mo, right-click, tapos bag, yan. Easier na siya to move. So, color fill. Select natin yung shirt ni Ate Girl. Hopefully, kasi white kasi yung background eh. Yun. Yan, select natin yung white shirt niya. Wait, hide natin yung bag. Yan. So, na-recognize siya yung white. Yung minus, pwede naman natin yan. Yung subtract, yung selection. To, para ma-recognize ni Photoshop na, meron pang pixels dito na pwede naman hindi siya madamay. And then, kung a-adjust mo lang, add lang. So, ano pa? Yun, add natin dito. Ma-recognize pa naman niya. So, pwede nang be patient. Be patient. Yan. Add. Dito pa sa gilid. Medyo, So, pwede mo naman undo. Yung gilid. So, ito, okay lang naman kasi hindi naman siya masyado ma-affect. So, yan lang shirt niya. So, yan, shirt. Ay! Wait. Yan. Add. And then, subtract. Yes, yan. Mabilisan lang. Para demonstration. So, gusto ko yan, yung selection natin, yung shirt niya, Ate Girl. Tapos, since naka-hide siya, 'di ba? So, yung foreground natin is white, alt delete. So, yan. Solid color. This is where you use yung blending modes, which is here. Hindi ko nasundan. Pwede mo naman mapanood ulit para lang medyo kasi yung mga at least may alam. Pero yung trick is always yung layer mask is a very useful sa layers, sa parang layer options or layer adjustments sa layers panel. So, gawin natin multiply. Kaso, parang okay. Ayun na, nagre-reveal na, 'di ba? Kaso hindi siya dito. Hindi siya but we can still adjust naman. So, yan. Paint over. So, ginawa ko is yung color fill, yung blending mode is multiply. Yan, multiply. Pero, medyo siya, 'di ba? Kasi yung selection. Pero, anyways, pwede naman linisin yan. Kaso, parang hindi siya masyado pang blended. 'Di ba? So, what you can do is you can adjust yung curves niya. So, we pull up yung curves and then we select yung dark 'Di ba? Ito, yung hand tool dito. So, you can select dark. Sorry, medyo parang ano Ayan. Yan, medyo yung darker parts na enhance niya. So, mas detailed na siya. And then, we can just yung lighter parts. Yan. Quick lang naman, pero you can adjust. Para lang siya mag-blend. 'Di ba? So, you can see na blend. Kaso, na-affect si ate girl. So, how can we avoid that? And since nasa isang layer lang naman siya, 'di ba? You can group it. So, ito, group. And then, parang, okay, naka-group na siya, pero affected pa rin yung buong adjustment ni ate girl. Kasi in-adjust natin to enhance yung highlights, yung shadows ng shirt. So, if kaso na-affected yung color din ni ate girl. So, what you can do is, you can actually put a layer mask sa group mo. So, you can drag itong layer mask do sa group and then there. 'Di ba? Di na affected yung itsura ni ate girl. But you can always, naman to, linisin, ganyan. Pero hindi na natin linisin for the sake na we're just demonstrating paano. Pero yan. So, what is good, kasi you can always change yung colors. But at the same time, like, change colors, what you want, and adjust yung curves mo, kung saan nagbe-blend, kung if you want it like darker para lang medyo blended siya, depending. Yan, kahit anong color na yan, 'di ba? Yung color fill kasi part siya na adjustment layer. Yan. Or we can like change. Pero depending kasi sa color, you can adjust kasi the color, pero hindi siya nagbe-blend. Pero, yan. Kasi you can always adjust yung curves din. So, at least, iba na yung color ng shirt niya, ate girl. Diba? Tapos, nasa isang group lang siya. So, you can see, pag pinindot ko tong visible na, like, toggle yung visibility niya. Yan yung original. Ito yung na-colored natin. Pero, you can still improve this, pero syempre, hindi naman natin ipa-perfect dito. Pero yan, di ba? Meron din naman tutorial yan sa YouTube. Doon ko din natutunan yan. Kasi meron time na pinagawa ako na gusto ko red yung dress ni ate girl doon sa ad. Sabi, red dress? Okay. Tapos, buti lang naka-white kasi siya. So, madaling i-enhance siya. So, yan. So, yan ang adjustment layer. So, madami yan, adjustment layers natin. 'Di ba? But you can always play around yung adjustment layers, and you can search for like, if you want to be specific, marami naman tutorials in YouTube. Pero at least, 'di ba, nalaman nyo, pwede palang gawin yan sa Photoshop. Yes, it is possible. So, yan. Yan na. May bag na siya. Iba na yung shirt color niya ni ate girl. Sorry, hindi ko nalinis to. Pero, yan, you get the idea. Show na po yung bag coach. Yan. Pero you can always enhance then. Okay. Ito naman, dito na tayo i-apply yung layer styles. So, layer styles naman tayo. 'Di ba? So, medyo mukhang flat yung bag, 'di ba? Parang di siya blended. Change size ng layer. Meaning, change yung size. Ito. So, ito guys. Parang hindi siya realistic tignan, 'di ba? Na parang flat siya. What we can do is yung bag, itong bag layer or bag na group, we can double click this, or we can right click and choose blending options. Pero blending options is layer style, you know. Tapos, gusto natin parang may shadow siya. Itong bag, may shadow. Para at least, medyo angat siya and realistic tignan. So, we can do is like drop shadow, red. So, pwede mo naman adjust yan. Adjust to, usually kasi pag ganito, minumultiply ko and this one. Pero, pag hindi, wala siyang background color na medyo magbe-blend. Parang ginagawa ko lang siyang black. Minsan kasi, or darker lang. Minsan kasi hindi siya parang nagbe-blend. So, bakit ganyan? 'Di ba? Bakit ganyan? So, minsan angle lang natin yan. Angle, tapos yung distance niya. Pero kasi, nakakat siya 'di ba? So, kasi nasa group. Pero what we can do is, we can go to yung bag mismo. Pero you can also do a layer style or parang blending option sa group din. Para iisa na lang siya. Ganun. Pero kasi, since inedit kasi natin na may ganyan. Yun. So, usually, okay, drag ko na lang dito yung mask ni ito. Yan, sa taas. Para ma-edit natin yung shadow neto. Kasi pag yung layer mask niya nandito, nagki-clip din yung shadow. So inangat ko na yung layer mask dito sa group para hindi na affect to. So let's try. So drop shadow, 'di ba? O yan, mas okay na siya. Dark. So yung distance niya and yung angle, I guess dyan, since yung shadows niya nandito. O, 'di ba hindi na siya nagki-clip? Although yung dito kasi di malinis yung pero let's try lang. Yung size, yung spread, tapos yung opacity. Yan. Yan, medyo may shadows na siya. Pero medyo lapit lang natin. Si angle. Si opacity. Yan. Pero usually, pag ganyan, mahirap na siya i-edit. Kasi hindi mo ma-edit yung shadows unless you want to convert it to a smart object. Para lang mabura natin yung shadows around dito para hindi siya, 'di ba? Kasi hirap na siyang i-adjust kasi yun yung nababasa ni Photoshop na ito dapat yung correct na shadows niya kasi may certain limitation siya. Pero I can make a copy of this at least. Pero na kasi syempre nagdoble. And then I can hide. Kunyari. Kasi nagki-clip yung hue saturation. So, I guess gusto ko na tong gawing smart object para para hindi na siya ma-affect. So, yan na siya. Buo. Pero you can duplicate it para in case na may nagkamali kayo, you can go back. So, yan. So, naging smart object na siya, 'di ba? So, permanently, yung shadows nandyan. Pero, at least, pag nilayer mask mo, mabubura mo na yung shadows around this part. Pero, since, soft round tayo para mag-blend. 'Di ba? Yan. So, wala na siyang shadows doon sa dapat na hindi na malalagyan ng shadows. Yan. Pero, usually, dapat, pag convert nyo na sa smart object, sure na kayo sa changes nyo. Unless you duplicate yung mismong group nung kunyari, itong bag. You can duplicate it and hide it. So, you can make adjustments. So, parang hindi siya, kunyari, ito sa akin, parang medyo hindi masyadong uh, visible yung pag-blend ng shadows, pero you can ano pa rin. So, kung dito, since siguro hindi naman yung shadows niya hindi sa background, you can parang erase it and hide it with the layer mask. Madaliin ko na lang kasi tayong time. So, yan. 'Di ba? So, kung ano lang yung may shadows dito, tapos dito banda sa may niya. So, kapag hindi kaya nung blending or nung layer styles, you can always, paint over. Kanyari, create a layer and then, kunyari, black. So, dyan nagmamatter yung layering din. So, yan. So, ito si bag. Ito, lagay natin bag. Rename natin. Ito si bag. Tapos, we want, parang, kasi hindi na gets ni Photoshop, dapat dito din medyo may shadows. So, we got our brush here. Tapos, lang natin yung opacity, babaan lang natin para hindi siya solid na black. So, we can paint a bit nung black dito with a soft round brush. So, may shadows na siya, 'di ba? So, okay, medyo babaan lang natin opacity, ganyan. 'Di ba? May shadows na siya. So, bakit lang sa ilalim lang siya? Kasi nasa ilalim yung layer natin. So, we can rename this shadow. Yan, yun yung shadow ng bag. Kay ate girl. So, medyo parang, medyo dapat siguro yung angle niya is pababa. Kasi ito yung shadows, diba? So, we can, hide yung shadows na nagawa natin. Pero it's either, you can use yung blending, or layer styles. Pero, if you want it to be precise and kontrolado mo yung, ng shadows, you can always parang manually paint yung shadows. Usually ganun din yung ginagawa ng art director ko. He likes to enhance photos, mukhang realistic siya for ads. So yan. Yan, 'di ba? Di na siya mukhang flat at least. Di na siya masyadong flat. At least meron siyang di na siya masyadong flat. At least, may dimension na siya. Depends, diba? Dito. Ito banda. Pero you can always soften it and, yan. Depending sa angle. Yan. Pero yan. Yan yung idea lang. Basta ba, every changes new layer, tapos pwede i-group. Yes. Yes. If you don't want your your bag, you don't want to directly edit on it, you can always create a new layer, ganyan. So you can manage din yung layering, yan. So, iba. So ito, si shadow, wala siya sa group. So we can always drag siya dyan, under that. So pag tinoggle mo, nandun na siya, kasama na siya sa group. So, easier na siya to move. Pero kasi, syempre, yan yung shadow mo, yan yung create mo. Diyan lang talaga siya. At least organized, diba? Organized siya. Yan. So, yan. Ginagawa namin when it comes to, mga ibang models. Kunyari for my sale, tas gusto ni client, lalagyan ng shopping bags. Yan, ginagawa namin. Lagay namin yung shopping bag sa model para kunyari may sa shopping siya. So, ganun din yung idea. So, layer mask is, easier or efficient way to at least do changes on your images without really affecting yung original image mo. Yung iba-iba color ng dress, pero same all, yes. Kasi, they can adjust naman. 'Di ba? So, you get naman yung guys, no? Yung idea. At least, pag nag-edit kayo, at least alam nyo na, ganyan pala. So, ako I encourage kunyari, ito yung yellow shirt. I encourage to always group your changes. Kunyari, kapag nasa isang group lang naman siya, you can group naman. So, you can also mark or at least yung color. Kunyari, you can right-click and here may color, yung layers mo. So, si red color, indicator, yan yung bag. And ito, si yellow, you can assign a color. So, at least alam mo, ito yung yellow na Depending. Para lang siyang marker na ito sa group, ito yung red, ito yung kasama sa red na na color group na inassign mo. 'Di ba? Mas easier makita na ito pala yung under ng group na to, itong layers na to. Yan. 'Di ba? Very efficient to use. Gusto mo din si ate girl yan. At least alam mo yung layering niya. Ito pala yung mga kasama sa layers. So, yeah. Yan ang basics. So, I thank you sa color layer tip. Yes. No probs. So, ano pa? At least, it's 11 na. So, wala may nakalimutan ba ako for Na-discuss ko yung adjustment layers, yung blending mode, yung layer mask, and blending options or layer styles. So, you can, create. So, ang homework natin, kasi since di ko pa matuturo yung Illustrator, kasi, siguro, more on, hanap na lang kayo ng PNG image. Yung transparent image. We'll watch your recording. Ganda. Kailan ito po-post? I post, coach, mamaya din. Alin, yung homework? Hindi naman within the week. I can, within the week. Hindi naman ako nagmamadali. So, at least, diba? So, yung binigay ko sa inyo na work file, you can work on it. Pero, ito yung assignment, guys. Here it is. This lecture, coach, kailan ni-post? We'll see, kasi pag sinend ko na kay kasi later check ko yung recording and then send ko. And then, depending na kung paano niya or kailan niya i-post. Siguro, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, ganun. So, ito. Since, ito yung peg natin. What do you call this? I want you to create an ad na would be, yung peg is this one. Ito yung reference natin. Kunyari, si ate girl. Tapos, siguro ang lalagay nyo for text is great gadget sale. Ganon. Then, you will, crop ate girl. Tapos, you will get images ng, basta kahit anong gadgets. And ito, ganito yung type ng layout. May doodles, ganyan. May doodles. And then, yan, gusto nyo din lagyan ng contact band, it's okay. Pero, ito lang yung idea. How you will integrate yung ang tawag dito? Yung naturo ko sa Photoshop. Using yung enhancement, yung adjustment layers, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos yung cropping nyo, practice. So, I guess, marami din naman kasi mga PNG icons. But if you know how to use Illustrator or if may Illustrator kayo, you can use templated na doodles. If you can search sa FreePic, ganyan-ganyan, baka meron mga Illustrator files na you can use as So, parang interactive siya, di ba? I guess, if you want a new model din to use na nag-use ng gadgets, much better. Pero you can work around kay ate girl if you want. Kasi na-crop nyo na, so work around. So, ganito yung idea. Yung font choice, syempre, medyo siya, bold, pero modern font. Usually sa ads, ganun eh. Ano po size? Ano na lang, 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. Siguro, ano ko na lang, ilalagay ko sa Discord kung ano yung dimensions and yung instructions. So, but, ito yung reference nung ano, ilalagay ko na lang sa Discord. So, gusto ko, ang title is, Great Gadget Sale. Ganyan. Great Gadget Sale. Tapos, may doodles and integrate nyo lang yung mga gadgets. Yan. Like, yung ginawa ko dito, I don't know if it will show. Ginawa ko dito, yung Instax, parang ginawan ko siya ng okay, nag-flash siya, tapos may snapshot. Parang yun yung doodle. Parang in-integrate ko na, may movement yung mga gadgets, yung may doodle siya. Yan. So, gets nyo ba? Coach UB lang po, saan po mag-send ng homework? If you want to share to everyone, syempre sa graphic design na channel, share it. And then, if you want me to comment on it, you can send me directly. So, ayoko naman kasi parang, syempre, bigyan ko kayo ng critic to all of everyone could see. Pero, gusto ko kasi parang one-on-one para at least hindi siya matabunan sa Discord. Pero you can share to everyone para makita nila, and then you can send it to me directly para maka-comment ako, which, yun yung yung apply how yung parang yung idea. Pero ito yung peg natin. Ito yung reference natin for the assignment. Para next week, we can discuss about like yung layout designs and yung correct na typography when it comes to making ads, ganun. How to send to you? I-direct message ako sa Discord. Pag pinindot nyo yung name ko, send message, meron eh. Will try my best to meet the deadline on this. Newbie din po kasi ako. Amazed by your lecture, coach. Wow, thank you. So guys, thank you again for joining me, and I hope na you have learned a lot. And I know it's a bit overwhelming, but I hope that this tackle a lot, and na at least nalaman nyo na yung how to use the like layers panel. So yan. Okay, done with the form. Thanks, guys. So, have a great week ahead of you, and see you next Sunday. And stay safe and healthy, guys. Good night, guys. And kung may gagawin pa kayo, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you again. And I'll wait for your assignments, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Good night.